Yes, I believe not only that education is important, but learning about history should be part of that education. I think that when confronted by the evils committed by current and past communist regimes, most people would be horrified and avoid adopting such political ideas. However, is it within the powers of the United States to make that determination? No. Has the government of the United States been vested with the power to regulate or fund education? No. Would this legislation, should it be passed and signed by a president, be valid? Absolutely not. As the Supreme Court pointed out in the case Norton v. Shelby County, an unconstitutional act is not a law. It confers no rights, it imposes no duties, it affords no protections, it creates no office, it is in legal contemplation as inoperative as though it had never been passed. Since Congress seems to value a civic education so much, perhaps it should start with its own. After all, the constitutional authority statement for this legislation shows an absolute ignorance of the necessary and proper clause of the United States Constitution. Perhaps people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. After all, if the members of Congress who not only write our legislation, but took an oath or affirmation to support the Constitution of the United States, are so ignorant of not just the document as a whole, but the language vesting them with power, how can we take any civic education they create seriously? Let's not forget that the National Captive Nations Committee, Inc., that Congress wants to develop this questionable curriculum, will have costs that need to be paid. Can we expect Congress to embezzle more money from the American people to pay those expenses? Again, I wholeheartedly support the inclusion of civics in our educational system. I simply wish Congress would educate itself about its legal powers beforehand. How can members of Congress claim to pull the speck out of the eye of our education system while a gigantic beam is wedged in theirs?